All right, what's going on, everybody? We are live with the JFH, the first Hero Challenge meetup, and more specifically, the Hero Journey, or the Journey Challenges, as we're calling them. So essentially what we're doing today is we're talking about how our Journey Challenges cut together to become your own mini movie. We're actually going to go through the first challenge, which is the hero pose. So it's a hero pose event today. It's gonna be great. And I got some notes here, but essentially there are 5 points that I think are like the top 5 that you want to keep in mind for any of these for this particular challenge. Think of the hero pose as the video challenge of you shooting yourself as a hero pose as the title card for your mini movie. So you want this thing to feel. You want people to feel it. You want them to feel something about your character and be able to take that with them, knowing that they can follow you as a hero in JFH or a hero even outside of JFH, because these challenges don't necessarily have to tie you to the JFH brand at all. I think that's super, super important. There's actually only 3 challenges, maybe even like one that has 3 parts to it. So we got someone on Cast Chat asking for the code. If someone can send that in. Andre, can you share the Zoom link? Thank you. There we go. Letting some other folks in. So essentially, number one, the 5 points that help you make your hero pose, again, your title card for your mini movie, your origin story as a character, whether it's a JFH character or not, is number one is the story and character is of course your foundation, right? So you have your story, you have your character, you know who. For me, I'm playing a fictionalized version of myself, so it's like slightly fictionalized, and I'm kind of like making little events here and there a little bit more interesting than they might be in my daily life, but I do a lot of martial arts, so that's cool. And so whatever your thing is, so as long as you know that walking into steps 2 through 5, you're going to be great. And if you're still figuring that out, this whole challenge is going to help you figure that out, all these journey challenges. So number 2 is your stance. So the stance, and we'll actually, I'm going to take this from AK Wonder, what's going on. So I got 2 phones in my hand, double fisting phones. So we got AK Wonder here. We got AK Wonder here. So essentially, like your stance, whether you're standing up or you're sitting down in a chair or you're laying down like someone like Devil Shocker, and shout out Devil Shocker, because he's already done his hero post and that's on the JFH IG. So you can see his is really cool. He's like laying at a bus stop, and he's got like a mace in his hand. And he's swinging, and it's like the ball and chain kind of thing, and it's super cool. It's in slow motion, so we'll talk about slow motion in a second too. But so Devil Shockers is a great one too. It's one of the, I don't know, maybe it's 10 posts in, under 10 posts in on our page right now, I think. But so story and character number 1, or vice versa, character story. 2 is your stance, and 3 is the setting. So the setting, of course, should have something that you feel is connected to your hero, or that you personally actually feel some form of emotional connection to. And the reason that's important, and if you're just coming on to the Zoom right now, we're going to have this uploaded to YouTube too, so don't worry about missing anything. You can always replay it. But when it comes to your setting, you want to make sure you can transfer that feeling, whatever you feel about the setting, to people. Like right now, I'm a New Yorker, but we're in Burbank, right? So like we've shifted. I'm speaking out of character right now. We always do that between out of character and in character. But we're in Burbank because we're expanding what we're doing for Justice for Hire as a media platform, etc. So this is not the most in character setting for me. This is this is part of the business that we're working on, and it probably will show up in the JFH series at some point. But right now, where we are in the series, it's not where canonically my character personally is. So for you, if you need a space, or you don't feel like the space that you're in really reflects who you are as a character, sometimes you can you can start to choose things that are a little bit more textured, that I highly recommend. Um, getting into places that feel a little bit more like uh, like the feeling that you want people to see on, let's say, a comic book cover of your character. I always think about film in terms of what is that one shot in 24 frames, because original film was like 24 frames per second. Um, so like each frame is a picture, and what is that one picture that tells your story? Because a picture tells 1,000 words, but 1,000 pictures don't necessarily tell you anything. So you can watch movies and you're like, this isn't very good. So always thinking about like what that one picture is that for your character, and that setting is always a huge part of that. So number 4, again, there's 5 of these 5 points. Number 4 is the framing. So the framing, you just kind of saw a moment of that, but if I can use AK Wonder here for a second, if I can get you against this gate or against the tree, sure, where she wants to go to the tree. So the framing is really has to do with character, stance, and story. Um, character, should I say stance, character, and setting, because as a character, you want to be able to convey what it is that you actually want people to feel with your stance, but then you want to make sure that you frame it. And I'm not doing a great job with this hand. So if I could pass this to Andra, the JFH Live phone. Thank you so much. So with this one, letting somebody else in. With this one, so right now we have AK Wonder here. This is really basic framing, and you can tell that it's I'm not thinking too much about it, but sure, I could throw a title card over here. You got to remember that the name of your hero is going to appear in the center of your title card. And if you just came on, if you can mute yourself, thank you. Okay, so so we got AK Wonder here. So this is, when it comes to framing, you can stick someone in the center of the frame. That's great. It's basic. It's fine. If you want to get more artistic with it, and it's super important to remember that you can get really artistic with framing and actually go overboard and miss the point. So the point is your character. And yeah, sometimes it's great to maybe have more what's called negative space. And you can think about a title coming up here, or something a little bit more, boom. You can only see half of her face there, but that could say something about her character, depending on how we want to frame her. So, and framing not necessarily just but also connected to double entendre of how we want the character to feel. Also, even the positioning, low angle camera will make you feel larger than life. It can also make you feel like if you can just look off the distance, a low angle camera angle can make you feel epic. But if you're looking down at the camera, you can look down at the camera for a second, it can make you feel like someone's looking down on you. So you really got to figure it out of what you want, versus a high angle camera, which can make you look small, but also can make you look inspired. If you're looking up to the sky and feeling like, hey, something great is happening. So I think these are really, really important points for how you frame yourself, whether you give yourself less space in the frame, meaning more space to the setting and the scene, versus more space for you as a character. And it's quite possible that you may not want to show your setting. You may just not be happy with where you have to shoot something, and that happens all the time for any production, whether it's independent or super high level professional. Sometimes you're not happy about where you are physically, and you got to figure it out. So be creative. You can have a close up, have a long shot. We got Andra here shooting something, and finally, and then we'll do some experiments, and also I want to answer any questions anyone has on what we're doing with this hero pose. But the 5th one is tone, and tone is really how all of that comes together. And tone includes your choice of regular speed, not just framing, character, framing, and of course the lens you choose. Like the lens, a wider lens often, if you have a phone that has multiple lenses, then like the wider lens, which makes your face look bigger close up, is often used in comedies to make things feel funnier. when the smaller lens, etc., the shorter lenses, it might have a little bit more ambiance to them, a little bit more weight, um, and so it just depends on how you frame that. Music also has something to do with it. With JFH, we always ask that you use music that you have the license to. But if you don't, we're not going to complain. We'll figure that out. Um, Aside from that, slow motion versus regular motion versus fast. So if someone's moving like super fast in a frame that might feel like funny or etc., slow motion will. Each one of these has an emotional impact and super important to recognize that. So if you have a slow motion moving shot, um, and you're walking through the frame, or maybe you're just lying down like Devil Shocker, or maybe you're jumping or hanging or whatever you're doing. All of that's going to come into play with the tone. It's going to, that first shot, this one hero pose shot, this one challenge is going to really give the audience, the viewer, a real understanding of what they're about to get into with you as a character. I think that's so important to really recognize that, not putting so much weight on this shot, but really more so showing it as an opportunity for you to really start conveying, like, hey, I'm me, I'm this character, and come along for the ride for me. So with oh yeah, lighting, time of day, texture of the air around you, all that stuff, camera movement, whether it's a slow push in like that has something versus a pull out, or tracking out, tracking in, if you want to get into, or dolly out, dolly in, which is more cinema language. And you could pan across. Sometimes you get these really cool moments where you just kind of pan across a hero. That kind of stuff is really fun, and it can leave you wanting more. And you may want to frame behind someone. So if I have Andrea right here, and I'm behind her, that says something too, because it leaves a mystery to who this is in front of us. Or maybe not, maybe it's not a who, but maybe it's a what. Maybe you're framing her with something in front of the frame, and you have all these little moments. Or you're doing it, like, for example, I'm doing this through bars now. So I'm framing her through the bar, and now she seems like she is trapped somehow. And the juxtaposition of these bars, which symbolize being trapped, and the open sky, that could be interesting. So you really want to think about all these things that can come into play when you're essentially designing what I consider to be your comic book cover in video form. Again, it's your title card if you want to use movie speak. This is the hero pose. And with all that said, let's experiment. And and again, all these challenges, there's like 15 right now. There's 15 journey challenges that we have on JFH. We've only released one, which is the hero pose. And so this one hero pose, all these challenges cut together for your own mini movie of your origin story as a character. So it's like, I can't drill that home enough, that doing each one of these actually has an end added value to it. So like we'll put the hero challenge, journey challenge video out, call to action video out again, which stars AK Wonder and her hero pose. It's real fun. But we'll do that again. And I think we have do we have a hero pose for you? Yes, we do. We have a hero pose for Andra that's going to come out soon too, because she's actually building the real life JFH app, so it's real fun stuff. So outside of that, let's play around with some of these, and I'd love to, if you guys are going to shoot any of the ones that you want to shoot right now, we can talk about that. If you guys have any questions for any of the hero poses or your characters that you have now, that you're like, hey, you know what, I feel this about my character. What is, or maybe workshop. Let's use this as a time. The time we have left is a workshop for any ideas. So, first of all, does anyone have any questions? All right, we got Jean Sebastian. What's going on, dude?
Hi. So the setting, like, I texted you about it, like something like dark, but like gruesome, not too gruesome. But I was thinking about like a dark setting with like broken stuff in the background, like broken
Okay.
wall, just a bunch of trash, but like New York City type of look, right?
Okay.
I don't know if that's like too much for the viewers, so I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh well, when you say too much for the viewer, do you mean too much for, like for JFH, for like what we're doing, or for your intended audience?
I mean, like I guess I want to target like a certain audience with the character I want to create, not too young, but like
So I mean, I think in general, as long as it's not like super gory,
mhm.
or like has essentially like lots of profanity, etc. in it, I think that you're in a great position to tell any type of story that you want. Um, that being said, I mean, like I think Broken Glass and kind of New York City grit. I mean, I'm from New York, so I love that. I'd love to see that. So, it's just obviously if you're going to use broken glass or like something in it that resembles it, you want to be as safe as possible so you don't cut yourself on it. So I
Yeah.
always kind of recommend, I mean, on professional sets, they'll use sugar glass. One of my like college short films, I had like a 12-year-old falling through sugar glass. It was great. His dad's my yoga teacher, and he turned out wonderfully as a man. And so, he's a great guy. So, but what I'm getting at is that if it is real broken glass, I would just be super cautious. That's yeah. I don't recommend breaking any glass for the shot. Just to be on the record, out of
Okay.
character on the record.
All right.
But so are you already in the cast, or are you
No,
thinking about joining?
I want to join. I'm not even thinking about it. Like I want to join already. I texted you about it with like the Batman type Punisher.
Batsman. That was you, Batsman?
And the Punisher. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
cool. Okay,
what,
awesome. Okay, he messaged on IG Batsman, and I thought Batsman was a character that I wasn't up on. I was like about to Google it. I was like, Batsman. I'll Google this right now so I can look like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. We're looking forward to having you, man. So that's great because we've been messaging a lot, and we got Captain Darkness here, and it's super important to recognize that when you're doing these hero poses, and when you're building out your character, it's totally fine to change your character name. It's like Captain Darkness was formerly known as a completely different character, and that's okay. We've actually had several heroes change their now we have. I don't want to reference anyone's old character because I don't want to pull that onto them. But like Code Gray was formerly known as somebody else. Captain Darkness formerly known as somebody else. Retrospect formerly known as somebody else. We can go down the list. We've had a bunch of hero name changes, and I think it's really important because that's part of the growth of a hero. I mean, even Hank Pym, if you read comic books, was at one point he Ant-Man, and then he was also Goliath. So go deep into the lore here. Ant-Man becomes Goliath. It's a whole thing. That's my son. Goliath. It's different. So anyone else? Any other questions on hero pose?
Question about the background.
I
usually use Premiere Pro on my computer, my personal computer. This is a school computer. So I use Premiere Pro, and I did a video when I was in school last semester, fall semester. I did a grainy black and white transition color video on the train, and I added some like anime music to the video to give the ambience. Is it possible I can just replicate the same thing when I'm doing the shots? Because I'm in my apartment house. I'm in my mother's apartment. I said I can just use the backdrop of the back wall in close by the kitchen, the living room, and do some filming of the hallway outside the apartment to give a little bit like walking down the hallway type of deal.
So are you saying when you're trying to achieve this walking down the hallway type
Yeah,
of
I
visual,
usually do like a
are you
POV.
walking?
I
Are
do
you
it like
walking or is the camera moving?
the camera is facing the walkway.
Okay.
It's facing straight down, so you're just going. It's not facing me. It's not flipped. It's flipped to this end. So you will see like the POV shot of the walking, and you will
Okay.
just it will perceive like like walking into a cathedral type of
Okay.
thing.
So you can edit as much as you'd like for these hero. I mean, first of all, it really ranges to whomever and however you want to convey your character. So if you want to do a full, I mean, Code Gray, I already just mentioned him, but he's an example. Code Gray's like hero profile video, because everyone who's part of the cast has that first hero video of like what your hero name is and why you're the hero to hire. So his first video is like fully edited. It's like almost a minute long. It's got his own music that he produced, and it's super dope. And he's not the only hero that's done that. A few heroes have actually done that. Noctis also, who's like a hacker hero, he doesn't even appear. He doesn't. You don't see him at all in his hero profile video. It's just ambient sound, like a door voice. Like he like did a filter over his voice and then put text on the screen. So like, you can do a hero video that's as simple as me holding this camera here, or you can do something that is a little bit more produced. Either is anything in between is totally fine. It's all about how you want people to feel. And I think that just Captain Darkness, if you want to talk about your your setup, because you're in an apartment, you have like door frames. And one of the things I always kind of recommend to consider, not to do, but just to consider, is the concept of a frame within a frame. A frame within a frame is something similar to when I showed the AK Wonder between the bars, because the bars essentially framed her. But I can do something similar. I got a table right here, right? So you can use these little I mean, not that a table is necessarily a great thing to utilize, but notice that I framed her within the frame of the legs of the table. So now you can do the same thing with a door frame. You can do the same thing, etc. With we got a garage over here. I can walk into the garage and then I can frame her within the framing of the garage itself. So all of these things can be considered to give a little bit more of a sense of a story. Because remember, if it's one shot, and if you just took one freeze frame of that shot of your hero pose, it should tell a story. A screenshot should actually tell a story. So going back into this garage and taking a shot of her standing however she is, and remember, I'm not on the best lens for my phone. I'm on the selfie lens, so this is not the best. But there's a story here, but you're looking at her. So now it gives a certain sense of depth and dynamism for the eye. So I think it's just, if you want to give a little bit more, it's a great way to give a small space that much more narrative scale by framing things within a frame. That's just a little trick. Any other questions or ideas?
Well, I did do the black and white transition. Is it possible I can do the same thing with the black and white? I mean,
Yeah,
like
of course
color
you can.
scheme. I traditionally did it before, and I'm trying to think outside the box here, just switching it up a bit, and add some like audio, some like
Yeah,
police
man.
sirens, then
As
ambulance.
produced as you would like it.
Perfect. I can't wait. You said something about the sitting, like the sitting pose. Do you have any examples of that that
Sure,
I
we
can
got Andra
actually do
sitting right
on?
here, like coding on her computer, literally right now. She's literally working on the JFH app right now. Let me frame.
So that's a good sitting
So
pose.
check this out. We have all this stuff right here, right?
Mhm.
So she's doing a sitting pose, and we're just gonna recreate Andra's hero pose like right now. So like, and because we had some issues posting her video because there was a issue with her Instagram account, which she has figured out this week. So we're actually going to put it online because we couldn't tag her and it was like weird. So it's gonna be fun. But this is a great example of, actually, I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys can see. Boom. So I can do this properly. Here we go. So you'll see in her video, and we do it in slow motion, but we pull up. And this is a great example. And she looks up to the camera and she smiles. So we got this great moment here, but we do it in slow motion where we're on her fingertips and she's on the code. This is the actual JFH app code right here. Much. So we pull up in slow motion and she looks up to the camera and she had glasses on the other one. She smiles and it's pretty cool. So it's super fun. And that's just an example of a seated pose. You don't have to be standing. You don't have to be running around. You don't have to be, I mean, you can do it lying down. You can do it on a slide. If you have a slide, I don't have a slide, but they might. But yeah,
so I might have something idea. I can use my bed.
Or that. And so, guys, and we want to keep these hero. We're going to do these regularly. These hero, these journey challenge videos, because we just want people to be able to have some context to what we're doing, because what we're doing is fairly new in the whole concept of saying, hey, you know what, if you follow these challenges, it'll actually amount to something that is narratively that has some narrative weight to it, that tells a story for you, and the fact that we're doing this within the narrative of JFH or connected to it means that not within but connected to it, these journey challenges are 100% about you. Again, like the mention of JFH in it can be minimal, and you'll see that as we go through the challenges. It really is not about you telling a Justice for Hire story. It's about you telling your story and connecting it at a certain point to Justice for Hire so that we can share a cinematic universe together. I think that's super important for me to drill down. I can't emphasize that enough, because this is not a JFH story. It is your story. So that being said, we're going to do these regularly. We'll probably do them every 2 weeks or so. But tomorrow we're going to have a hero meetup that mimics, essentially the model that we found was really, really great a couple weeks ago when we did that event for Warner Media, where a bunch of heroes came together and shared ideas and talked about their characters. We're going to be doing this every couple of weeks as well, and that's going to be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific time, because we're on the West Coast. So I'm hoping that everybody who's on here will make it there, and I know there'll be some other heroes there tomorrow as well. But before we wrap up today, are there any thoughts, questions, ideas, etc.? And that's on the website too, right? Yes, you can if you don't see the Zoom link readily available on IG, you can just go to the justiceforhire.com site and events, and you'll see tomorrow's hero meetup on there. But does anyone have any thoughts, ideas, or a sign off? Is that Tomahawk? Was that Tomahawk? Oh my gosh, Tomahawk.
If we're gonna put a mask on for our characters, it can't be copyright.
Well, let's put it this way. In terms of masks, this is a great question, because we have a bunch of heroes who have masks that are for other copyrighted characters. I want to say a bunch. I'm throwing quotes around that. It's more than 3, at least. It's ideally, if you're using a mask, you have something that is at least kind of retro footage for you, even if it is from a copyrighted character, that you can say, hey, you know what, this is my version of that character. I changed it enough to make it mine. But honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Like if you're, I just don't, I'm not even going to say any copyrighted character's names. I'm going to do it. But don't worry too much about that. If you want to just throw a mask on and be that character. That's awesome. And when I say be that character, I mean be your version. Be you, be your character, but using that image, that's fine. but the ideal is that you have something that's retrofitted for you. A great example is Widowster. Widowster is, his costume can be considered reminiscent of Spider-Man, but it's actually his own costume, and it's pretty like high tech stuff. And Widowster is actually a real life superhero who's part of our cast, and his costume's like it's serious, like so I'm not saying that you have to go and do that, but I think it's really important to kind of look at stuff that is reminiscent of, and you can just look around our cast, go right to the JFH IG page, and you'll see all these different hero profile videos, and you'll see people who have made their own stuff. So that's pretty cool. But you also see people that are wearing, like I said, copyrighted characters. So, or you'll see people with no mask, or maybe just like a ninja thing. So all of that stuff works because it's your character.
All right.
I think there's a cat doing a pose. Look at that cat. She's right there. I feel like we keep on ending on cats because the last time we did something, we had a cat too. And so, but I'm thankful for all you guys. We got Yulong. I'm going to just throw off the characters I see on here. We got Yulong. We got Captain Darkness. We got Tomahawk. We got Sensei Claus. And if everyone does not know, if you haven't seen yet Sensei Claus's training that he did for our Warner Media Week 2 weeks ago, it is now on YouTube. All those trainings, including John Machado, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu icon, Max Chen, pro fighting champion, Muay Thai, Sanda, all that stuff is on the Justice for Our YouTube. There will be more content there, and we are launching episode 1 next week. It's going to happen. We're going to do it this week, but we pushed an extra week because tomorrow, Hero Meetup. And again, justiceforhire.com is where the info is for the Hero Meetup tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, and what is that, 11 a.m. Pacific. So I love you guys, and I'm grateful for you. We got AK Wonder here. We got Andra over there. Again, we're out in Burbank right now, even though we're New Yorkers, because we're helping to build out this JFH community and the actual platform as a whole. So just thank you guys for your time and for the attention and helping to make this real, because we're building a cinematic universe together, and it's never been done. And so it's pretty cool. So we're grateful for all you guys. And there's all the Instagram heroes right in there. Love you guys. So tomorrow, hope to see you. And if there's anything else, otherwise, love you guys. And I'm going to press stop on this recording.
Right.
Oh, was that Sensei Claus?
It might be a special appearance tomorrow.
You all right?
What's Sensei Claus? I see everyone's giving a sign off. We got
Yeah, sorry, new mic. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, dude?
Yeah, so tomorrow, well, I don't know if you guys are going to be here tomorrow, but AK Wonder's mom made a bunch of mittens that we're going to be giving out to the homeless. So if anybody is in New York for this, I'm going to try and do that next week before it gets too cold.
Yeah, this is super, super important. Thank you for bringing that up, just in case you guys aren't on tomorrow. But essentially, Sensei Claus was mentioning that AK Wonder's mother, AK Wonder right there, we should probably turn the camera.
My dearest mother, yes. AK
Wonder's mother has made handmade, very, very warm gloves that she wants to distribute to people in need. So they have been sent to New York, because AK Wonder's mother's in New York, to Sensei Claus, and Sensei Claus is going out and actually like physically handing stuff out. So we, obviously this is pandemic times. We would never ask anybody to go and to do that. But Sensei Claus has a big heart, and he's doing it, and we're really, really grateful. I think Juice might be joining him. But please reach out to Sensei Claus on Cast Chat or through to me if we can get you guys some gloves, if anyone needs them, and or if anybody knows somebody that needs them or wants to hand them to anybody. A big part of Justice for Hire is actually doing good in the real world. So we build up these characters we got to do something with them. So, so thank you, Sensei Claus, for stating that.
Before we go, there's a special appearance coming tomorrow.
Oh. Captain Darkness is announcing some form of special appearance.
it's gonna be a new reveal. So you've seen the first villain already, so I'm going to reveal the second.
Wow. Well, thank you, man, for giving us a. That's very exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be the new. It's gonna be a new face.
And you know what? Actually,
first time.
I want to speak to that for 1 second too, because it's really important that and this is Jan talking out of character, that we have a hero here who also we have a cast member who plays both a hero and separate villain characters. So I think that's really, really important to recognize that you can creatively go wherever you want to with this stuff. You can play both heroes and villains, and that's so we can do that. Our emphasis right now for JFH obviously is building a community of heroes, and there's already a bunch of like real world challenges that I think that exist. Systemic problems that we need to address as a hero community. But having villains can be super fun. And so just letting you guys know that if you want to play multiple parts, you can do that. And so thank you so much for that exciting announcement.
You're very welcome.
The news of the impending announcement. So thank you, Captain.
You're going to be delighted when you see it. It's brand new. And the first one you've seen, it's going to be there too. So you get to hear everything, you get to hear the whole backstory behind it.
Amazing.
You get to hear every last bit of the monologue.
Oh wow.
Monologue.
Wow.
All right.
We're gonna get a Toshiro Mifune monologue over here. If you guys don't know Toshiro Mifune, he was one of the amazing gems of Japanese cinema, and my favorite actor of all time, and Akira Kurosawa, who's like one of the greatest filmmakers who ever lived, who inspired Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. That was like his main actor. So look up Toshiro Mifune monologues. It's a big deal, and Captain Darkness, we're very much looking forward to it. So thank you, man. And thank you everybody again. And we love you guys. And we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. On Zoom. Love you. Cheers, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Well.
Us.